My name is Clara. I am 22 years old. I moved to Los Angeles because I wanted to be an actress. When I arrived, I only had one small suitcase and very little money. I didn't know anyone in the city. I had no family, no friends, no one to help me. The city felt huge, bright, and cold. I rented a tiny room in an old building. It had one small bed, a broken chair, and a single window. I worked different part time jobs at cafes, in shops, even cleaning offices, just to pay rent and buy food. Every day was hard, but I held on to my dream. I went to auditions, smiled, and tried to do my best each time. But the answer was always the same. No, sorry. They told me I was too young, too simple, not ready. After so many rejections, I felt hopeless. I started to think maybe I should just give up and go home. One afternoon, my phone rang. It was my manager, Mr. Lewis. He usually didn't call unless there was bad news. My heart was heavy when I picked up, but this time he sounded different. Clara, he said, I have a strange offer for you. A very rich man wants to hire a young actress. It's not for a movie or a show, it's something private. I didn't understand. Private? What do you mean? I asked. Mr. Lewis didn't explain much. He just said the pay was huge, more money than I had ever heard of. It was enough to fix all my problems. Still, I felt uneasy. What kind of private job was this? Was it safe? Was it right? But I thought about my empty wallet, the unpaid rent, and the days when I ate only bread and water. I didn't have many choices, so I said yes. The next day I went to the rich man's house. It was enormous, like a palace. My heart pounded as I rang the doorbell. A tall man in a suit opened the door and led me inside. The house was full of shining gold decorations, soft carpets, and paintings on every wall. Then I met the old man. His name was Mr. Graham. He was 68 years old, tall, with gray hair and sharp blue eyes. He wore a black suit and spoke in a calm voice. He told me he wasn't looking for an actress for a film. He wanted a wife. I froze. A wife? I repeated. I thought I had heard wrong, but he nodded slowly. He said he needed a young, quiet woman to be by his side. She should not ask too many questions or expect romance. She only needed to look good and attend events with him. In return, he would pay her $10,000 every month. My head spun. 10,000 a month. That was more than I could imagine earning in years. He told me I could live in his big house, wear beautiful clothes, and never worry about money again. He gave me one night to think about it. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling of my tiny room. I thought about my dream to be an actress, about my struggles, my loneliness. I was tired of fighting life every single day. By morning, I made a decision. I called him and said yes. Our wedding was small and quiet. Only a few people knew about it. After the ceremony, I moved into his mansion. Mr. Graham treated me politely but coldly. He gave me expensive gifts, diamond earrings, silk dresses, gold necklaces, but he never showed affection. He never kissed me, never even held my hand. I lived like a guest, not a wife. There were many rules. I had to smile at parties, speak softly, and never question him. One strict rule was that I was never allowed to enter his private office. He locked it every day. I was curious but afraid to disobey. Even with all the gifts and money, I felt empty. I didn't have love, only luxury. Sometimes at night, I looked at his closed bedroom door and wondered why he had really married me. One evening, he took me to a big charity event. I stood alone near the buffet table, holding a glass of juice, when a woman approached me. She had perfect makeup and a cold smile. "Hello, Clara," she said. "I'm Laura. I'm Mr. Graham's ex-wife." My heart jumped. I didn't even know he had been married before. Laura leaned close and whispered, "He married you for the will, didn't he?" I blinked, confused. "What will?" I asked. She smirked. "If he stays married for 1 full year, he'll get his family's fortune. If he doesn't, all that money goes to his son." I felt sick. My world spun. I wasn't a wife. I was a tool. Later that night, I confronted Mr. Graham. "Laura told me everything," I said. "She said you married me for money." His face didn't change. "Laura lies," he said quietly. "She's bitter and jealous. Don't believe her." Then he walked away, but his calm voice didn't comfort me. I felt something was wrong. Soon after, I met his son, Adam. He was 27, tall and handsome, but cold toward me. The first time we spoke, his words cut deep. "You're a gold digger," he said. "You just want my father's money. You ruined our family." I wanted to tell him he was wrong, that I didn't marry for greed, but he wouldn't listen. He looked at me with anger and disgust. "Mr. Graham told me to stay away from his son." "Adam doesn't understand," he said. "He's angry. Ignore him." But I couldn't ignore him. Adam was the only one in that silent house who showed real emotion, even if it was hate. Over time, things changed between us. At first, we argued. Then we began to talk, really talk. We spoke about dreams, loneliness, and how hard life could be. I learned that Adam wanted to start his own company, but his father refused to help him. One afternoon, Adam said quietly, "Clara, my father is hiding something from you. Something big. It's about your past." My heart raced. My past? What did that mean? "What are you talking about?" I asked, but he said nothing more. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about his words. My husband's rule echoed in my mind, "Never enter my office." But now I felt I had to know the truth. One night, when Mr. Graham was out, I went to the office. My hands trembled as I turned the doorknob. The room smelled of wood and dust. Papers covered the desk. I searched the drawers, one by one. Nothing special, business documents, letters, old photos. Then, in the bottom drawer, I found a small wooden box. Inside was a faded photograph. It showed a young woman holding a baby. I looked closer and froze. The baby was me. I recognized my own face. Standing beside the woman was a much younger Mr. Graham. My heart stopped. What was this? My mother and Mr. Graham together? When he returned home that evening, I showed him the photo. "Who is this woman? And why am I in this picture with you?" I asked, my voice shaking. He looked at the photograph and sighed. "That woman is your mother. he said softly. Her name was Lydia. Then he told me the truth. He had known my mother many years ago. She had been an actress too, just like me. They were close friends, maybe more. When I was 2 years old, my mother died in an accident. Before she passed, she made Mr. Graham promise to take care of me. He said he had been searching for me for years. When he finally found me, he wanted to give me a good life, without telling me about the promise. I thought you wouldn't understand, he said. I married you to keep my word to her. My heart twisted. I didn't know what to believe. I walked outside into the garden to clear my head. The night air was cold. I found Adam there. His face was tense. Clara, he said, you need to know something. My father isn't who he says he is. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. He uses people. He used you. Leave before he hurts you too. I looked at Adam, but I didn't know who to trust anymore. Maybe he was lying too. He wanted the money for himself. I need time, I said quietly and walked away. That night, everything felt heavy. My heart was full of questions. Did Mr. Graham marry me for love, for the will, or for my mother's memory? I didn't know. Days passed. Then one evening the doorbell rang. It was him. He looked tired but gentle. Clara, he said, I never planned to fall in love with you, but I did. That's the truth. For the first time, I saw warmth in his eyes. He didn't ask me to forgive him. He just told me how he felt and waited. The 1 year mark of our marriage was very close. I remembered Laura's words about the will and the money. I needed to choose, stay for love or leave forever. A week later, I returned to the mansion. Mr. Graham stood by the fireplace. I held the marriage contract in my hands. Without a word, I threw it into the fire. The paper burned slowly, turning black and curling in the flames. If I stay, I said softly, it's not for money. It's for something real. He walked toward me and took my hand. Then he tore his own copy of the contract into pieces. For the first time, we smiled at each other, not as strangers, but as two people who had finally told the truth. From that day, my life began again. Mr. Graham's love became gentle and real. Adam still didn't forgive him, but I stopped caring. I had found peace. Months later, I got my first film role. It wasn't a big movie, but it was mine. I stood on the set thinking about how far I had come, from a lonely girl in a small apartment to a woman who understood what love really meant. Money can buy clothes, houses, and gold, but not trust or happiness. I learned that true love grows from honesty, not power or fear. Now, when people ask me what I learned from my story, I tell them this: the best choices in life come from the heart.